about 6.5 months ago, I left the United States with my backpack after realizing that I wasn't really happy in my small town that I lived in. I finished college about 2.5 years ago, and after college, I tried to buy a house. I was in real estate. I was able to show myself properties really quickly. And it was also one of the most challenging times to buy a single family house, you know, in my town. I think prices went up about 34%. Interest rates rose, and you know, I was showing myself houses the same day they went on the market. A lot of times I was the first one to go see it. I would call up the realtor, try to put in an offer of, like, you know, conventional finance and 5%. And they already had multiple cash offers. And it went on for 8 months, 10 months, something like that. And I realized after, you know, I was kind of upset, but I didn't feel tied down, you know. I didn't have a mortgage for 20, 30 years, and I realized that maybe I should just get up and try something new. I'd been on a big language kick. I learned Spanish. I was teaching English to Spanish speakers, and after that I studied Portuguese. I love the languages, and I kind of realized I felt like I was in a rut in where I was at in life. That I had a job, it was a good job. I got out of real estate after not realizing I didn't really like it too much, for some of the reasons that I mentioned. It was kind of upsetting to see how single family homes were being just bought up by all these investors and making it more difficult for people like me and people my age, you know, mid-20s. It makes it really expensive now. So I got out of real estate, and being in my small town at another job, I kind of realized I felt like I wasn't getting enough out of what I was doing. I felt like I was waking up, working, and I really just was unhappy. And maybe it was part that I was studying languages. I felt like I wanted to go somewhere where they spoke Spanish, maybe Mexico or Guatemala or somewhere in South America. And then I kind of made the decision to come to the Philippines. You know, the Philippines was a perfect fit for me due to my hobbies, really. You know, I grew up playing pool. I grew up in and out of martial arts. I studied different ones for different periods, you know, and I wanted to study and train in boxing. I wanted to play pool with the Filipinos, you know. Growing up, a lot of my idols in the pool world were all Filipino. And you know, you have diving, swimming here is really, really great. And most of all, for me, I said I learned Spanish. I wanted to learn an Asian language on top of that, and Tagalog was really interesting to me. I remember watching a video a couple years ago from Asian Boss, where they made a Taglish video where they were asking Filipinos on the street if they could just respond in pure Tagalog, and they couldn't do it. They would code switch, and I found that so interesting. And so those are some of the reasons that brought me to the Philippines, really. But also I felt like a lot of it was also things going inside of the happening in the United States that made it a lot easier for me to make the decision to leave. I left with just a backpack. You know, I told my family what I wanted to do. I'm 27. I was 26 when I left in October of 2022. And I put stuff in a backpack. I put clothes, electronics in a backpack. Didn't have a lot of money. at all. And came here for what I thought was going to be a couple of months, but I ended up staying, you know? And it was a really powerful thing that happened to my head, kind of changing my life direction and what I thought about the possibilities in the world. But going back to what I was saying about things happening in the United States that made it easier for me, it was a combination. You know, I'm a data junkie. I love numbers. I love looking at graphs and charts and stuff. But right now, if a lot of the charts that you're looking at, or I was looking at back then, you know, debt to income, credit card usage, inflation, home prices, which ties back to what I was saying about me trying to buy a house for me, which in hindsight, I'm glad that I didn't. I feel like I would be more stressed having a mortgage right now and having maybe more financial responsibility every month for a long time. But you know, besides that, I felt that I was becoming negative about the United States, and part, in fact, probably to the news and politics. You know, I think we all can agree that in most countries, politics, it just divides people. But in the US, it felt kind of different to me. Coming from college, university, I mean, I graduated two and a half years ago, during the elections and during COVID. I mean, it was a very interesting time. I'll leave it at that. But I even noticed in college how divisive or how one-sided it was, and it was kind of sad or disheartening to see, you know. And a lot of these reasons about me feeling certain ways kind of helped push me to get out of my comfort zone, because I guess I didn't feel comfortable where I was. So this is just me talking about a couple reasons why, you know. My hobbies here are great, by the way. I did boxing for a month in Bacolod. I've done a lot of pool, a lot of swimming. My Tagalog's decent. I still have a lot of problems with grammar, but the thing about Tagalog and languages in the Philippines, a lot of people come here because the official language is also English, and they feel like, oh, I don't need to study it, this or that. And while that can be true, and I think it is true, you don't need to learn a language here, that was probably the number one thing, the best thing that I did when coming here, was learning Tagalog. When I came here, it was very basic, but it improves your relationships and conversations immensely. You know, not everybody here speaks great English. People don't speak English. Some people are really good. But people can be a lot more comfortable with you initially if you try to speak Tagalog to them, or you ask them a question. And some of my best experiences here have been a result of meeting people and connecting with people through languages, you know. Not everybody's comfortable with you coming up to them and talking to them in English. And I think it's important for maybe more the younger audience, or maybe younger people who are thinking about traveling to a different country. 100% learn the language. Now, I know there's a lot of older people here who don't feel the need to, and that's okay, but your quality of life and relationships will be improved when dealing with Filipinos. And I also think it's kind of respectful to know some basic Tagalog. I mean, I think people complain in the United States about immigrants and people coming to the United States and not learning languages. And, you know, some of these people are here. And they'll say that. And then you ask them about Tagalog and, oh, I don't need to learn, you know. So I don't know. I would push you, if you're planning to go somewhere, study the language. It's nice to And yeah, those are a couple of my reasons why I'm here. It's been great. About 7 months in, you know, everything kind of happened for a reason for me, and I'm starting to realize that everything that happens for a reason. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Comment, like, and subscribe if you want. More so comment. I would like to hear a comment from some people. Maybe I'm rambling, but I'd like to hear people's thoughts on maybe the United States, the state of politics. If you think that, what's the cause of it, the division? Is it the news? Is it people just wanting to disagree? Is it something bigger? You know, I'd like to hear opinions on anything you might have found interesting here. So thank you.